Welcome everyone. In this video we are going to cover the script for mortgage campaign, how to work it, and also how to overcome objections. So let's just jump right in. One of the major benefits that we're going to have, as discussed in earlier videos, is the fact that we're going to have the caller's name and the mortgage company that they took mortgage with. The first name is most likely the caller on the other end will identify that this is somebody's trying to sell him something, so it will shut down. But if you greet with, "Hey Joe," Joe is more likely to be intrigued on who is this, so he will say yes, or who's asking, something along these lines. So we want to use first names. Introduce yourself. My name's Rotam. I'm calling in regards to your Wells Fargo, Bank of America, whatever you have listed on the dialer, Bank of America mortgage you took back in March. I usually say just a month. Briefly pause, but not for too long, and then you jump right into, "Hey, reason I'm reaching out is wanted to let you know that you are approved for mortgage protection that will pay off your loan in the event that you or your spouse will pass prematurely." Now I want to stop for a second and explain why you want to be super clear on this sentence. This is really where you make sure they're super clear on what mortgage protection is. Most people don't know what's mortgage protection. So you're approved for mortgage protection, but now you have to explain what it is and why is it that they need it. And so you want to be super clear. The slower you'll speak, the better your likelihood of them saying yes, tell me more, or something like that. So remember, super slow, even to the point where it sounds almost you're too slow, or it's a little uncomfortable. That would be a good pace. So we wanted to reach out and let you know that you are approved for a mortgage protection that will pay off your loan in the event that you or your spouse will pass prematurely. So that's pretty much a good pace. You want to pace yourself. Again, the slower you'll speak, the better off. If in the sense that you're flying through it, they just don't even they may not even understand what you're saying. They'll just the immediate instinct of people who don't understand something is to just reject it. And so take the time, keep it slow, keep a good pace, and then you want to jump over to also make payments on your behalf if you get sick, injured, cancer, or any medical conditions. You'll be able to pull funds from the death benefit while you're still alive. So you want to take the time and explain it crystal clear way, so that you increase the likelihood of intriguing the prospect on the other line to say yes. You know what? I'll be open to look at a quote, and then basically just close it with. So we wanted to know if you'd be open to look at your quote as if we already have it, or learn more about it. Most people most likely say no, just looking at numbers. But every hour or so, you should have 1 to 3 people that will reply with yes. We would like to learn more about it, or we're open for a quote. You get all kinds of responses, and then once that happens, you want to respond. We want to ask some qualifying questions, so it will help you prepare the illustration. And you want to ask them in this particular order. Okay, great. Well, what's a good email? And they're thinking, okay, I'm just going to give them the email and they'll send me information. But in reality, you're going to have 5, 6 more, well, actually 7 more questions after that. So you want to lead off with what's a good email, and then you grab the email, and then follow-up question. Okay, well, will you need coverage for you or only, or for you and a spouse? And then they'll let you know. Then if you ask that right here as a second question, it increases your chances to get 2 policies or 2 quotes versus 1. If you're going to take the caller through all these questions, and at the end you ask them, "Oh, by the way, do you need one for your spouse?" They're obviously going to say no, because they don't want to answer all these questions for the spouse as well. So if you just ask it early on, you may increase your chances for people to say yes. Not maybe, you will increase your chances for people to say yes. Send me a quote for my spouse too. And then basically you just jump into, okay, what's your age? What's your spouse age? You don't need date of birth. Age is good enough. If you're saying, well, we're not feeling comfortable giving a date of birth, you said that's fine. Just give me your age. What's your spouse age? Any tobacco? What your spouse is any using tobacco? What's your height, weight? You don't need exact, just ballpark. Spouse, if any spouse. And as far as prescription, you want to know what's your health status or health shape situation. And so you don't really need a prescription. So I get a lot of people that already experienced, and they want to take the medications, but you don't really want them to start spelling out their medications. You want to make it quick and painless for them and get them off the phone. So don't ask for the prescription names. It is not required. Just get a general idea of their health situation, so if they should be standard on tobacco or if they're super preferred. So you want to ask, are there any medications that you should know about? If yes, just ask what is it for. So if you're not familiar with the medication, or just it's really what we need for is what is it. If they have, usually it's pretty helpful with especially with diabetic. If you get diabetics, when you want to know what's the A1C number is the number that, that measure the sugar level in the blood. So you can ask for that if they say, I'm taking, metformin for, type 2 diabetic. And so you want to ask A1C as a follow-up question. But, basically just general idea of their health situation. And then, you can also ask what kind of coverage do you want? If it's a $250,000 mortgage, do you want less? Do you want $250,000? Do you want more? So, that's also, a good question to ask at the end. Now let's go ahead and talk about objections. So, the main idea here is that, we're prospecting for leads. So we don't really want to twist our arms to become a lead. If they don't want to be on the phone, or they have no interest in what we're selling, that's fine. It's okay to let them go. Because, we want to talk to people that has a need for our service, right, or product. So don't try to force on every call people to say, give me your, all the information that I need. Again, just spend your time wisely. You hear no, that's okay. And so usually if you hear no, or I don't need it, I'm not interested, you want to follow up with at least one question, saying, hey, do you already have a policy in place? We found out that a lot of times people say, yeah, we already have a policy. And then, a follow-up question will be, is it your employer, or is it, when will it expire? So a lot of times just asking this one question will turn a no into, well, I have a policy that expired in 2 years. And then, we can follow up with like, well, would you want to, extend that, look at another option, a policy that will, cover you for the next 5 years, or a permanent policy, and then maybe a yes. So that's pretty much one of the only ways I can think of that we can do. We can follow up with somebody that says, no, I'm not interested. If somebody says, I already have coverage, good follow-up is to congratulate them for already, being responsible. So that's great. You're already doing better than most people I talk to. Our policies allow you to pull money out of the death benefit while you're still alive. If you get sick, injured, cancer, heart attack, or more, that's accelerated living benefits. We sell on that a lot, so make it a habit to talk about these a lot. Pretty much every caller that you can think of. So that's great that you already have coverage. You're already doing better than most people I talk to. Our policies allow you to pull money out of death benefit while you're still alive. If you get sick, injured, cancer, heart attack, or more. Sometimes you can ask, do you have the old policy or the new ones that allows you to pull money out of your death benefit? And you'll help people amazed with the fact that, oh, you can do that? I didn't know you can do that. That's amazing. So I use that a lot. Again, living benefits, if you don't know what it is, go ahead and check out the Emeritus EDU website. Check out Care for Life. That's not Emeritus, but pretty much a lot of carriers has some version of that. So so that's your initial response. That's great. You're already doing better. Our policies allow you to pull money out of death benefit. We also may be able to save you some money. So if you're looking at the same coverage but for cheaper premium, or we can increase your coverage for the same price you're already paying. So we can maybe extend your coverage or increase your coverage for the same amount of money you're already paying. That's another reason. So first reason is living benefits. Do you have living benefits? Something that you really want. Or we can save you some money on the same coverage or increase your coverage for the same amount you're paying. And then you follow up with, I'll send you a quote and you'll decide. Sounds fair? And then, usually when you do say that, you make it quick and simple, and you end with sounds fair, most likely people will not say, no, that's not fair. They'll respond with yes. So yeah, that's I already have coverage. That's the second rebuttal you hear a lot. Another thing you can ask is it a private policy or is it through an employer? If it's an employer, you can say, listen, coverage from an employer may be limited. May not be there at all if you switch jobs or retire. Also, just so you know, if you develop some medical condition and your coverage drops, it may be challenging or even impossible for you to get coverage. So we always suggest having a personal policy that you are the owner of, in addition to your employer coverage. Employer coverage is cheap, it's good, go ahead and take advantage of it, but always have a policy under your mattress. That's pretty much the second rebuttal, already have coverage. So if number one was no, and you want to follow up with you already have a policy. Number two, already have coverage, and you can follow up with, that's great. Living benefits, can save you some money or increase your coverage for the same amount you're paying. I'll send you a quote, something's fair. And number three, I can't really talk right now. In some cases, that's going to be true. Maybe call some people that they're at work or they have the kids screaming in the background. You probably don't want to talk to them or force them into talking. You really genuinely trying to help them. So you don't want to force them into talking to you if they really can't. Even if they're making it up, just being nice goes a long way. And so you say, you know what, that's great. I appreciate that. Would it be okay if I'll send you a text message, or you can simply reply back with the info we need, and we'll send you a quote. So just get the permission to shoot a text, and you see if you can get a quote request that way. Texting has become one of the most effective consumer marketing tactics, and it's definitely underutilized in the insurance space. So feel free to do that. The next one we have here, a little bit off on the numbers, number 4, just send me some information. Now, this is kind of like the brush off. This objection varies, but for the most part, it's just a brush off. And so you know, one of the things if that happens, you can just say, listen, can we take 30 seconds just to learn a little bit more about what information you want me to send to you, or can we take 30 seconds just to learn more about your current situation, something like that. So you may not register very well, but you can still try it. Again, asking that extra question can lead into a discussion, which can lead into a quote and a sell. So always try to squeeze that last question. We already have a coverage via our employer or competitor. We kind of touched on that already, but let's do that one more time. So many people with existing coverage are either underinsured or overinsured. So I would ask, how much coverage do you have? How did you determine that amount? You may be overinsured, underinsured. That's very common nowadays. People just buy a lot of coverage when they don't really need it, or they buy too little. So that could lead into discussion into how much you're paying for that coverage, or would you like to see what we can do? And you can go that way. And then the employer, which we already talked about. So that's the script explaining what's a mortgage protection campaign. Have a strong, solid intro, slow pace. Make sure you're in a nice professional environment with quiet background. You don't want your dog barking or your kids screaming, obviously. And you want to be sounding, the most importantly, I think, is for you to sound, like a good energy and, friendly, is what we found to be the most effective. Go through rebuttals if you have any. If you have somebody that says yes, you just basically go down these questions. This document, a link to this document will be on the video description, so just feel free to check that. And after that, you basically just, if you gathered all the information, you'll just prepare a quote and send it to them. You can ask for a date and time where will be a good time to follow up when you finish the call. So that's probably something I'll add. So ending the call will be a follow-up. So schedule a follow-up. All right, now what we're going to do next is we're going to listen to some recordings. We'll listen to some things that worked, some of the things that could be improved, and hopefully it will give you an indication or a feel for what it is how it sounds to be on the phone, or how it feels like to be on the phone and handling live people. So I'll see you in the next video.